Have you ever heard of a creature so strange, so horrifying, that it turned a peaceful American town into a place of fear and confusion? A creature that seemed half man, half beast, and left behind tracks no scientist could explain. Tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and spine-chilling cases in American folklore, the Enfield Monster. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Twist Tale channel. Please subscribe, like, and share my videos on other platforms to help us uncover more untold mysteries from the past. Our story begins in the quiet town of Enfield, Illinois, a small, peaceful community where everyone knew each other. The year was 1973. It was springtime, and the air was still cool. The people of Enfield were ordinary folks, living ordinary lives. But one night, something extraordinary happened. Something that would change the town forever. It started on the night of April 25, 1973. A man named Henry McDaniel had just returned home with his wife and 2 children. Their small house stood near the edge of the woods, quiet, isolated, and surrounded by open fields. It was late evening when the first sign of something strange began. Henry heard a scratching sound outside his house, a deep, harsh scraping against the siding. At first, he thought it was a stray animal, maybe a dog or a raccoon. But the sound was too heavy, too deliberate. It wasn't random scratching, it was slow, steady, and almost intelligent. He stepped closer to the door and listened carefully. The sound came again, scratch, scratch, then silence. Henry grabbed his flashlight and his revolver, walked to the door, and opened it cautiously. What he saw next would haunt him for the rest of his life. There, standing between the 2 rose bushes near his porch, was something he couldn't describe. A creature, crouched low to the ground. It had large, glowing red eyes that seemed to stare right into his soul. Its grayish, wrinkled skin glistened in the light, and it stood on 3 legs, not 2, not 4, 3. Henry froze for a moment, unable to believe what he was seeing. The creature was about 4.5 feet tall, with short arms ending in claws. It looked both animal and alien, something that didn't belong in this world. The creature hissed at him, a chilling, high-pitched noise that made his heart race. Instinctively, Henry fired 4 shots toward it. The creature let out a screech, leapt several feet in the air, and disappeared into the darkness at an incredible speed, covering more ground than any human or animal could. Henry's family rushed out after hearing the gunfire. Shaken, he told them what he had seen. His children swore they'd seen the same red eyes staring through their window earlier that evening. It wasn't a dream, it was real. The next morning, Henry contacted the local police. When officers arrived, they found something truly bizarre. In the soft dirt near the porch, they discovered a set of footprints unlike anything they had seen before. Each track had 6 toe marks, 3 large ones and 3 smaller ones set behind, like a creature walking on a tripod. The tracks were nearly as large as a human hand. The police measured them, photographed them, and tried to match them with known animals. But nothing came close. It wasn't a dog, not a bear, not even a large bird. It was something unknown. When Henry's story reached the local press, everything changed. Reporters flooded into Enfield, eager to find out more. Some came from Chicago, others from neighboring states. Soon, the small town was crawling with journalists, photographers, and curious onlookers. The legend of the Enfield Monster had begun. But not everyone believed Henry. Some people laughed, calling it hysteria or a prank. Others whispered that Henry had seen something from another world. A few days later, things got even stranger. Another family, living not far from Henry's home, reported that their young boy had been attacked near their yard by something with 3 legs and grayish skin. The boy was unharmed, but terrified. He said it had jumped at him from the shadows before running away at incredible speed. Police were called again, but no creature was found. Only more of those bizarre footprints. Soon, monster hunters began arriving in Enfield, self-proclaimed cryptid experts, UFO researchers, and thrill seekers armed with rifles and flashlights. They camped out in the fields at night, waiting for a glimpse of the creature. That's when things got out of control. On May 6, 1973, 2 young men named Rick Rainbow and Mike Moffat, both from a nearby radio station, claimed they had seen the Enfield Monster near an abandoned house. According to their account, the creature moved quickly, making a terrifying screeching sound before vanishing into the woods. They even recorded the sound, a high-pitched cry that sent chills down anyone who heard it. This recording caught the attention of a famous cryptozoologist, Lauren Coleman, a respected researcher who traveled to Enfield to investigate. Coleman spoke to witnesses, examined the footprints, and walked the same fields where Henry McDaniel had his encounter. His conclusion: the people weren't lying. Something strange had definitely happened in Enfield. Coleman described Henry McDaniel as a reasonable man, calm, honest, and not prone to wild imagination. He wasn't the type to seek fame or attention. He truly believed in what he saw. And as Coleman studied the tracks and listened to witness accounts, he couldn't dismiss the possibility that the creature might be real. But what was it? Some suggested it might have been a kangaroo, perhaps escaped from a traveling circus. The three-legged movement could have been a trick of light or motion. Yet, no circus in the region reported a missing animal. Others thought it could be a mutated creature, perhaps the result of some experimental accident from a nearby government facility. There were also those who whispered darker theories. That it wasn't an animal at all, but something alien. At that time in the early 1970s, UFO sightings were being reported across Illinois. Strange lights in the sky, hovering discs, and mysterious humming sounds had become part of the local folklore. Some people believed the Enfield Monster was a being from another planet, left behind or escaped after a crash landing. Whatever it was, it terrified the residents. Children refused to play outside after sunset. Doors and windows were locked tight every night. Neighbors began carrying guns and flashlights. The peaceful town of Enfield had turned into a community on edge, gripped by fear of something they couldn't understand. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the creature was gone. After May 1973, no new sightings were reported. The monster seemed to vanish without a trace. The strange tracks faded, and the journalists left. Enfield returned to its quiet life, but the story never truly died. Years later, researchers revisited the case, trying to explain it rationally. Some claimed it was mass hysteria, a small-town panic exaggerated by media and fear. Others believed it could have been a wild animal deformed by injury or disease, mistaken for something supernatural. But for those who had seen it with their own eyes, the memory remained vivid. Henry McDaniel never changed his story, not once. Until the day he died, he insisted that what he saw that night was real, and it wasn't from this earth. Even decades later, paranormal investigators and cryptid hunters continued to visit Enfield, hoping to find some trace of the creature. Some claimed to have recorded strange noises in the woods, similar to the screech described in 1973. Others captured blurry images of shapes moving in the darkness. None of it was conclusive, but it kept the legend alive. Over time, the Enfield Monster became part of American cryptid lore, alongside creatures like the Mothman, the Jersey Devil, and the Flatwoods Monster. Each story shared a similar pattern: an isolated encounter, unexplained evidence, and a mystery that refused to die. But what makes the Enfield Monster case different is how ordinary it was: a quiet town, a humble witness, and a terrifying event that couldn't be explained away. When researchers examined the timeline, something even more intriguing appeared. Around the same time, in nearby Mount Vernon, residents reported seeing strange creatures too: tall, gray, humanoid figures lurking near roadsides and fields. Could it have been the same entity? Or was southern Illinois, for a brief period, home to something far stranger? Many locals began calling the region the Triangle of Monsters, a stretch of land where sightings of unexplained creatures, UFOs, and strange lights overlapped. Skeptics dismissed it as coincidence. Believers called it a hotspot for the unknown. As the years passed, new generations in Enfield grew up hearing the legend. Some laughed it off as a local ghost story. Others swore that, on quiet nights, they could still hear faint scratching sounds coming from the woods near McDaniel's old home. One woman who lived nearby in the 1990s told a chilling story. She said her dog would often bark furiously toward the tree line late at night. When she shone a flashlight, she sometimes caught a glimpse of two glowing red eyes staring back at her, motionless, unblinking, before vanishing into the darkness. Was it just an animal? Or was the monster still watching? To this day, no one knows what the Enfield Monster really was. Every explanation leaves gaps. Every theory raises more questions. Could it have been a creature that slipped through time or dimension, something that didn't belong here? Some modern paranormal researchers suggest that creatures like this might not come from outer space, but from another layer of reality, a parallel world that occasionally overlaps with ours. It's a chilling thought, that sometimes, when the conditions are right, beings from another realm can cross over, stay for a moment, and then vanish back into the unknown. When Henry McDaniel described the creature's speed, He said it covered 75 feet in 3 jumps. That's not physically possible for any known animal of its size. Some argue that this could indicate the creature wasn't bound by normal physical laws, or perhaps it was never fully material in the first place. Even the way it disappeared seemed unnatural, silent, instant, like fading from sight rather than running away. And what about the sound? That eerie screech captured by Rick Rainbow, to this day, no one has identified it. Scientists who analyzed the tape said it didn't match any known species. It was mechanical yet organic, sharp yet echoing, like something between a scream and a whistle. Was it a call, a warning, or a message we weren't meant to understand? As the decades rolled on, Enfield remained quiet, but the story traveled. It appeared in books, documentaries, and podcasts. Each retelling added a new layer of intrigue, turning the creature into a symbol of the unknown that still walks among us, unseen, unexplained, and unforgettable. But if you ask those who still live there, some will tell you something strange, that the air around Enfield feels different. That certain parts of the woods never seem to grow the same way, that animals avoid the same patches of land year after year. Coincidence, maybe, or a reminder that not all mysteries are meant to be solved. So what do you think? Was the Enfield Monster a real creature, a cryptid lurking in the dark corners of Illinois? Was it an alien, lost and stranded on Earth? Or was it something beyond our understanding, a visitor from another reality that slipped away as quickly as it came? Whatever it was, one thing is certain, for those who lived through that spring of 1973, Enfield was never the same again. The legend of the Enfield Monster continues to echo through time, reminding us that the world still hides secrets we may never fully uncover. And maybe, just maybe, when the night is still and the air is heavy, it's out there again, watching, waiting, somewhere in the dark. Thank you for watching. This was Twist Tale, and if you enjoyed uncovering this eerie mystery, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true tales of the strange, the hidden, and the unexplained. Until next time, keep your eyes open, because you never know what might be lurking just beyond the edge of the light.